Hello students, this is Pravesh and I welcome to all of you on my channel Global Studies Aspirants, and today as you can see we're gonna talk about Paul Deman, and he was an American philosopher, theorist and critic. Okay, and this part is related to literary theory. Okay, let's get into the first one slide over here, and let's talk about first of all the introduction. And here, writing on literature, Paul Deman possibly the most influential deconstructive literary critic. Okay, deconstructive literary critic of his generation. Okay, argued for rhetorical reading. He argued for rhetorical reading. What do you mean by, friends? What do you mean by this rhetorical? Means if you make some language common to specific. Okay, if making language common to specific by using some ornamented terms, like you are making your language effective, impressive. Okay, that is called as rhetorical language. D. Man argued that there was no referential language. D. Man argued further that there was no referential language. Okay, because all signifiers belong to the other signifier. That's why there is no definite certain certain position. Okay, you can call. And now let's talk about the very most important work, Resistance of Theory, that was published in 1986. Okay, friends. Yes. And here, Resistance of Theory, friends, was published in 1986. Okay. And let's talk about what about all this. All language is in one sense. Okay, figurative because it refers to more and more words. Every language have more and more words. That's why it is called as figurative than reality. This linguistic sign is a site of conflict, and that's why this linguistic sign is a site of conflict. Okay, ambivalence means indefinite and instability indefinite. D-Man took this line further, showing how even so-called, and that's why the same narrative is used in the field of law and economics. Okay, where we use the same tropes and figurative language like metamorphic language. Fine. What D-Man demonstrating was that when a text seeks, if you look at some kind of text, that would be a persuasive and objective in nature, because it relies on fictional truths and figures, because they have been made by using of fictional language, truths and figures. That's why they seem like persuasive. Okay, and objective type. The text is thus, that's why the text is called deconstructive, self deconstructive. Okay, fine. Where the literal level is subverted by the figural, where the literal level is subverted by the figural. Okay, and this makes all text undecidable in their meaning. Fine, let's move ahead. And here, friends, Paul Deman belonged to this school, very famous school situated in USA, the Yale school, influenced by deconstruction theory. Okay, he belonged to this school. And when D-Man reads, he suggests that critical practice, however rigorous, is very rigorous in nature, takes recourse to the very truths. It takes the recourse very truths and figures it hopes to unravel. They have uh, maintain a figurative kind of features in the language. Thus, when we assume a binary like form and content, when we assume in the literature that there is a quantity like binary features like form and content, because language is made of by the using of form and content in a literary work. Okay, we assume that form and content constitute meaning. Okay, form and content constitute meaning. Okay, and the interpreter is to look at form or content. And what is the task of interpreter? Is to look at the form or content. Fine. Okay, and now we can not think beyond form and content. That's why we cannot think beyond form and content. Okay, And friends, as basis for interpretation, this is the base of interpretation. D man's example serves well. Okay, serves well here to understand this aporia of criticism. Fine. And let's move forward here. And looking at this literary text and their language, Paul Deman argued that the literal meaning of a text is often deconstructed and contradicted by its figural meaning. Actually, he further argued, Paul Deman argued that the literal meaning, the real meaning of the text, is often deconstructed. When it was deconstructed and contradicted by its, then what we got, that it is contradict in nature by its figural meaning, because the figural meaning has some contradiction features from the reality. That's why he suggesting, he saying, emphasized like that. D man argued that what one can write about a particular piece of writing, okay, what can one can write about a particular piece of writing or text is made possible by the conditions of that text and writing itself. Fine, because there are some kind of conditions possible, that's why they made some text, some people or person to write about the text. Okay, and let's look at some works that were written by this famous philosopher and Paul Deman philosopher. Okay, in Allegories of Reading, that was published in 1979. In this work, he emphasized on rhetoric and metamorphic use of language, which I told you earlier. The rhetoric kind of language features and tools he used in his work. Okay, in this work, use of language, that was published here in this 1979. Okay, 1979. Okay, the year is very important, 1979. You have to keep remember, sometimes most probably they were asked in the examinations. Okay, and now let's talk about the second one work, friends, the rhetoric of romanticism. You will find over here this term rhetoric is maybe must have used many times by this philosopher Paul Deman, friends, Paul Deman. And the rhetoric of romanticism was published in 1984. Okay, and if sometimes maybe asked in the examination that this specific kind of word rhetoric belong to whom? Okay, whom philosopher. So you can, if you have gone through these works of this philosopher Paul Deman, that you can idea, okay, you can take idea immediately that rhetoric means, here we are talking about, they are talking about, they are asking about the Paul Deman rhetoric of romanticism. And so these works are very important. You don't need to go in depth, friends, because you have to keep remember the works and the year, okay, and the writer author name, that's enough. Okay, because this is the they are not going to ask any other features or characteristics like that. Okay, that's enough, that they would just ask the simple or basic questions. Okay, but all that you have to go through the complete work, that's why you get an idea. Okay, let's move ahead. And here the friends, again, in aesthetic ideology, that was published in 1992. Okay, friends, this the again very famous work, aesthetic ideology, and that was published in 1992. He suggested that there should be a use of aesthetic values. What does it mean? Okay, aesthetic values means there's some kind of beautiful, tremendous, gorgeous values. Okay, the realism, you can call the reasoning, should be there in the work of literature and language. Fine, actually everywhere we should ignore the kind of metaphoric language or rhetoric kind of language. We should not use everywhere, but sometimes we should use aesthetic values in our work. Okay, instead of only figurative and metamorphic truths, what he called, what he meant to say. Okay, friends, so that's why these three works are very very important. Okay, written by this great philosopher. Okay, you have to keep remember. Okay, and as per the examination concern, this may be asked sometimes. Okay, so you have to keep remember all these works. And here, that's all for today, friends. if you really like this video, okay, do not forget to like and share our channel, and share this video, okay, to your friends circle as well. Okay, so that's for today, and I will meet you again with the next one video. Till then, bye. All right, friends, and thank you for watching this video.